Emma is a thought leader, author, speaker, entrepreneur, and she is a philanthropist. She served on multiple advisory boards, and she is an adjunct professor at NYU. And I can assure you, she is a dynamic person who can make things happen. And Armen, who I also met today at the studio, is a member of the committee planning the Armenian Bar Association's entitled the Startup Revolution Program. That is our subject for this segment of the show. And Armen, you're both welcome to the station. This is your first time. I hope you will have more occasions in the future to connect with us via in person or via phone. Armen, you seem to know what is happening. I, for one, have not heard too much about the project the Armenian Bar Association is involved with. So it's yours to give us as much information as you can about the project.
Thanks, Vartan. So let me tell you first about the Armenian Bar Association. We're a forum for lawyers of Armenian ancestry in America who come together socially and professionally to address the legal concerns of the Armenian community, and really to do a lot more than that. Our goals are the goals of what one would ordinarily expect of a bar association, of course, professional growth, but also community advancement, and we strive to do even more than that. We want to be an organization of relevance not just to Armenian American lawyers, but also to the legal profession more generally. We were founded in 1989 in Los Angeles, and we are still headquartered there under the leadership of our chairman, Jiro Kasabian, and our vice chairs, Kathy Osian and Lucy Varpetian. And of course, we have active chapters across the country, including here in New York, and we are led in this chapter by Denise Darmanian and Gary Mumjan.
What, Armen, when I was contacted by Suran Israelian, he said, both of you are dynamic people in representing the project. He praised Emma's talents. Emma, as an adjunct professor at New York University, as an entrepreneur, and you seem to be a very result-oriented person. Where do you come in, and what can we expect from this project?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for giving this opportunity to meet you and also share all this great news that we have about the Armenian network between the legal attorneys, lawyers, in the name of the Armenian Bar Association, and the other part, which is the startups, entrepreneurs, investors, Armenian and non-Armenian. This is a groundbreaking type of relationship. We're the first time in New York City using this event that's happening on October 13th. We're going to bring together two major networks that are making the difference in the innovation, transformation of our society. And it's a revolution. We call it Startup Revolution. That means we are bringing together these two networks to make the difference for Armenia and Armenian startups worldwide.
You know, Armen, you said something very, very interesting. You said we are an organization that is relevant. And I think that is the key. You have to show some type of relevance to be accepted and promoted and ask help. What kind of support can you expect from the people listening to us?
Well, I think certainly knowing about what we do and also participating in the program, which is not open not just to lawyers, but it's also open to startups and to students as well, and we can talk a little bit more about that. We spoke about relevance. The world we live in tends to distract us from a lot of things, and I think every institution has to find its relevance, even institutions that are presumed to be relevant to the people who are their members. I mean, I think even Armenian institutions struggle with that in this day and age. It's very important to us in the Bar Association to be relevant not just as I said, as an institution of Armenian lawyers, but to the community of lawyers as a whole. And this is what we're striving to achieve. And I think Exhibit A and B, if you like, were the public servants' dinner that we did very successfully back in April of 2018, April of this year. We had an event at the Yale Club that was attended by 80 judges, 8 current and former United States attorneys, including judges of the Court of Appeals, and we honored, among others, Robert Morgenthau, legendary former Manhattan District Attorney, and of course grandson of Henry Morgenthau, who was of course ambassador to the Ottoman Empire during the genocide. This event, this Startup Revolution program, is yet another brick in that foundation. Look, I think the idea of startup businesses is relevant to every economy. It is certainly relevant to the economy and the future of Armenia. And this program helps to drive the networks necessary to facilitate that revolution, which has already begun, but it can certainly be propelled, and it ought to be propelled. And that's really what we're trying to do here. And to do that requires not just, if you like, taking care of the business side, but taking care of the legal side as well. And that's the fusion, that's, if you like, the synergy we have here between what Emma is doing and what we're doing.
Emma, with the government changes in Armenia, the revolution that continues to this very day in Armenia, how receptive, how is the present government, or how have things changed?
Well, I've been working with Armenian startups and technology since 2014, very involved. So I have seen different people working on these initiatives and how to actually take the technology industry in Armenia to the next level. In my career, I've been in management consulting with being a partner at Ernst & Young and managing director of emerging technologies in Accenture. Then I built my new startup, became an entrepreneur myself, with the Orion Worldwide Innovation, who is the company sponsoring and supporting this effort. I think this collaboration between the lawyers and myself is really a good start. Going back to your question of how the new government is responding, I have actually extremely good news to share that we are building Armenian Global Innovation Hub. We started those discussions with Armen Sarkisian and with the Prime Minister office. We have meetings scheduled in October, just in 2-3 weeks from now in Yerevan, meeting with all of the ministers, including education, transportation, communication, and others that will be in the diaspora minister as well, and to talk about how we can actually support Armenian startups globally and Armenian startups in Armenia.
You know, whenever we speak about startups or business investments in Armenia, we've had a very, very difficult period in terms of trust. How do you see that trust developing, or what is the situation of that trust?
Oh, I love that question. I'm so happy you answered. You're a genius. I said 5 minutes ago.
I told you.
This is exactly why we need to actually put some legal education in startups, learn how to do business with investors, with big companies, big corporations. Where I'm coming from, I know the startup revolution is happening in big corporations. Fortune 500 companies are spending now billions of dollars into startup transactions, M&A, acquisitions, and co-development efforts, which I'm very, very familiar with, and I'm taking our Armenian innovation to that level. They need to learn how to work, how to establish their companies to protect their intellectual property. So we have structured 4 different major panels, and we really want to invite people. I'm going to actually make sure that I don't miss anybody else. The startup business. We want to invite businesses, angel investors, venture capitalists, attorneys, and judges. And those communities, we want them to be present to hear how to build trust in the networks of startups and all these professional networks.
Hi, this is Rafi. I wanted to ask a question about regarding you mentioned technology. Is this limited to technology? I know there's a lot of initiatives for the young people to enter technology because it doesn't require resources and such. But the reason I'm asking this question is because in the United States, the main job generator are really small companies. Does the organization in any way loan money for startups that need to grow or to establish themselves, to provide employment and such?
Well, there are different sources of how to support startups. Number one is a startup establish itself to be actually legally properly established, the practice, and the one way to do it is to take them to the right places, which is introducing them to angel investors, to big corporations, and I think the idea of creating this collaboration is to prepare them to enter that kind of market globally.
Armin, I know you wanted to add something to what you just heard Emma say.
Yes, and Emma, in fact, went exactly in the direction that I was going to go to. So what's the rationale of what we're doing? There's a lot of big think here. The big think is the importance of startups, the importance of technology startups, the importance of all of these things, not just to any modern economy, but to the economy of Armenia. But the big think is only facilitated by the little think, if you like. It's the micro level things that every entrepreneur has to think about and to do, and that's really what this program is about. This program is about not only providing the tools that are necessary for people who are lawyers, who are either in the space or interested in getting into the space, but also the tools to provide tools to the startups themselves, and people who want to become startups, and people who want to become involved with startups, either as investors, angel investors, or investors any stage of the investment cycle. And that's really what the rationale is behind doing this. Surin Israelian, one of our very creative and active members, active leaders in our chapter, is the one who created this program with that vision. And we were all excited when he did it. And it was a all hands on deck effort, if you like, on very short notice to get this off the ground. And we've done some. We've got a lot of work to do still, but we've done a lot to put this program together. And maybe, Emma, it's a good moment to talk a little bit about just a few minutes, if
We definitely like to hear. Let me just take this till 3 p.m. because we have to move ahead. Can you give us the highlights of the program?
Absolutely. So we have multiple panels, and we have really distinguished, very experienced people to share their knowledge and what they have done for other for other industries, including startups. I just want to clarify: it's startups in any industry. That could be manufacturing, could be medical, biomedical, and technology, of course, as well. One thing that I would like people to take away is people who want to set up a startup, they are more than invited to join, and you will actually share the registration where they can register. So it's going to be streamed globally. We're going to have Armenia and Yerevan and Gyumri to participate as well, groups of people sitting there. So it's a global, live, and in person in New York City, in Gyumri, and in Yerevan. And all the information will follow, so everybody can follow globally and learn from Australia. We actually have lawyers even from Australia. We have from Armenia, from Russia, and from the United States.
Armin, can you wrap it up?
Yes, Varta, let me just add very quickly. So the broader context of this is that the Armenian Bar Association is having a mid-year meeting in New York City. It's something we do semi-annually. And this year we timed the meeting to coincide, of course, with the Armenia exhibition. And this was a great opportunity because we have so much interest to do this great program, which is what we're doing. I think the most important thing is for anybody, and I encourage everybody who's within the sounds of our voices today or whoever watches this online later, visit Eventbrite, search for Armenian Bar Association, and you'll see a link that'll say 2018 mid-year meeting. That will give you all the information, and of course you can also visit the Armenian Bar Association's website.
Eventbrite.com.
Emma, Armin, you really are dynamic individuals. Thank you for all you're doing. There's a lot of passion, there's a lot of love, there's a lot of caring for Armenia. I think this is a very, very important project. Armenia needs us, each and every one of us, whether it's a startup company, whether it's legal brains or minds. I'd like to thank you and wish you all the best. I hope you can join us some other time and give us more details and success.
We'll talk about results.
Indeed, it's a historic moment for all of us, and I think we need to seize it in every way.
Thank you.